for him to prepare for what I'm going to bring to the table, and I'm just too sharp, too clean, punch way too hard, power in both hands.
I was streaming, I just shut the curtains because I was like nervous type stuff, but now it's like I embrace it because I always dreamed of this. That's why I don't never shy away from it. That's what I'm here to do. You know what I mean? To show out, so.
Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
This was your typical boxing press conference. When Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Jake Paul sat face-to-face under the bright lights of Las Vegas, things went from tense to explosive in a matter of seconds. The atmosphere shifted instantly. You could almost feel the heat rising in the room. Two men from completely different worlds, one a 3-division world champion known for his knockout power, the other a YouTuber-turned-boxer who built his fame outside the ring, now standing inches apart with fire in their eyes. Neither blinked, neither stepped back. Every stare.
Capable of, I know what I've learned in the past year with my new coaches, the shape I'm in, the power I possess, and I'm just in there to...
Let's be honest, Tank Davis wasn't just another fighter. He was a force of nature. For years, his name alone carried weight in the boxing world. Every opponent who stepped in the ring with him knew one thing. One clean shot could end their night instantly. Tank built his legacy on raw power, devastating knockouts, and highlight reels that went viral within minutes. He wasn't just winning fights. He was making statements. And for a long time, he was considered one of the most dangerous men in the sport.
Fight. His training is taking a toll. But the cure is just as bitter as what ails him.
How long I do it? 5 minutes?
5 will be good enough for you.
They definitely went to the kids store and get this.
That water ain't cold.
We know that.
I know, but...
Get in the water, man. Just get in the water.
You can't sit on the edge.
Man, just get in there, man.
Go. No, give me the...
But then came Lamont Roach, the man nobody thought would be a problem for Tank Davis. What was supposed to be another routine win turned into a reality check. In their first meeting, Roach didn't just survive. He stood toe-to-toe with Tank and made him look human for the first time in years. The fight ended in a controversial draw, but to many fans, the message was clear. Tank's dominance wasn't untouchable anymore. Roach walked out that night with his reputation skyrocketing, while Tank's aura of invincibility took a serious hit. And instead of stepping back into the ring to silence the critics and settle the score, Tank made a shocking move. He skipped the rematch fans were begging for and chose to fight Jake Paul, a YouTuber. Just think about that for a second. Instead of chasing redemption.
I believe he spars people that are much heavier than him. And, man, that uppercut, damn.
Well, who do you got?
I would have to bet on Gervonta because for all the little things, all that, and the fact that he's not old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he makes up for the weight situation.
Okay, so this is the first time that Jake Paul's fighting an actual boxing champion, an active, young boxing champion. Everyone else he's fought was either way older or like, was it Tommy Fury, I think?
Yeah, the guy was a legitimate boxer. Yeah.
A legitimate boxer, but not a champion.
Right.
He's fighting a champion, although a very little champion compared to him.
Yes.
So this is sort of a, I don't know, man, like,
if it wasn't Gervonta Davis, and it was somebody else in that weight category.
It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous. But Gervonta, I mean, technique-wise and heart-wise, that makes it interesting. Like, again, kudos goes to Jake Paul because it kind of worked its way up, even though the guy is so much smaller.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm happy that Jake is bringing excitement to the sport and so forth, but you just have these, like, people fighting bears and, you know, there might be a boxing match with a weapon involved of some sort. Like, people have sticks. Like, I feel it's just getting more and more ridiculous. And really, outside of Crawford Canelo, there's really very little excitement over pure boxing.
This fight isn't about proving who's the best. It's about one thing only, money. And that's exactly why so many fans are upset. Facing Jake Paul doesn't earn Tank Davis respect. It doesn't cement his legacy, and it definitely doesn't add to his credibility as one of boxing's elite. If anything, it does the opposite. It makes people question his hunger, his pride, and his desire to compete at the highest level. Sure, the payday will be massive, but every dollar earned comes at a cost. And for Tank, that cost could be his reputation. One wrong move in this fight, and years of dominance could fade into doubt.
This is my toughest fight. He's undefeated, highly skilled, most experienced fighter I've fought, top 5 pound for pound. So I have to have the best version of myself. I know how fast he is. I know how strong he is. I believe I'm stronger, more athletic, and that's my advantage going into the fight. But he pretty much has every other advantage. So I'm locked in, fully focused, feeling amazing already, and just going to put on a performance and have the biggest fight of 2025.
Last one, I've seen some people say, "Oh, Jake, the goal here is just to survive." Knowing you that's not the case. You're not going in there just to get through 12 rounds with Tank Davis. I would imagine you're going in there to win this fight.
Oh, absolutely. Tank's going to be the one surviving. I'm going to, upset a lot of people. And again, they're going to have to say that there's some crazy excuse, fights are rigged. They can't use the steroid excuse because we have full on random drug testing at any time. They could literally knock on my door right now. So they can't use that excuse. And obviously I'm suing people who say that the fights are rigged. Piers Morgan already had to retract his statement and kiss the ring. More lawsuits are coming for these people who are lying on my name because it's just simply not true. And we're willing to prove that in court. But I'm actually flattered that the only thing that people can chalk up these wins to is that the fights are rigged, because it's honestly the greatest compliment. But again, I'm going to knock this guy out and probably create one of the most viral knockouts.
Here's the real problem, the weight difference. Tank Davis is a natural lightweight, fighting at around 135 pounds. Jake Paul, on the other hand, competes near 195 pounds. That's a gap of nearly 60 pounds, or 6 entire weight classes. To put it simply, Jake is a full-blown cruiserweight, almost a heavyweight compared to Tank. That's not just a small size difference. It's a massive physical disadvantage. In boxing, every pound matters. It affects power, reach, endurance, and how much damage you can take. So when a smaller fighter like Tank steps up against someone that much bigger, the risk isn't just losing, it's getting seriously hurt.
Was at cruiserweight. Chavez Jr. was a former world champion at middleweight himself, and that sort of made sense. And it was a good win for Jake Paul. He come out there and he beats an ex-world champion. He gets a little bit of credibility, and you go, right, now you're heading in the right direction. You're starting to be okay, all right. Former champions, former fighters, but at least they're boxers. They're not MMA stars, and whatnot. So, yeah, I think that was a move in the right direction. Gervonta Davis is just a little bit of a freak show for me.
Yeah, I agree, Spence. I mean, the size difference is a bit of an annoying one as well. But also as well, I hate when they put exhibition in it, because then you think how seriously they're really going to take it. I understand it because of the money involved, but realistically, if there can be a winner, Gervonta Davis should take him out, regardless of the size, pretty easily and pretty quickly.
I agree, mate. Totally agree. Gervonta Davis is an active fighter. Like I say, still a pound-for-pound star. Very heavy-handed as well. He should have the movement, forget the size, to be able to slip inside and take Jake Paul out. That's the reality of it. But, yeah, I just find it all very, very strange. Look, I thought that an even stranger fight, to be honest, was Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. You look at that fight and go, who's going to sanction that? God forbid something happens to Jake. I think that what he's doing for the sport is brilliant in his own right. He's bringing new fans into the sport. He's doing excellent for women's boxing as well. You can't take that away from the kid. And he's been working hard as well. And he's improving. But going in against Anthony Joshua, a former 2-time world heavyweight champion and still an active fighter, that's a suicide mission for me. I think that Anthony Joshua, and you look at Francis Ngannou, and look at what AJ does to Francis Ngannou. Who would win out of Anthony Jake?
Hardcore boxing fans understand how much the weight difference matters. They know size can change everything inside the ring. But let's be real, casual fans don't care about that. All they see is Tank Davis, one of the best fighters on the planet, stepping in against Jake Paul, a YouTuber. So if Jake somehow pulls off the upset, nobody outside the boxing world is going to talk about the weight gap. They won't say, Tank was too small. They'll just say, A YouTuber beat one of boxing's top champions. And that's the danger. One fight could rewrite the entire narrative around Tank Davis.
He is big. Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80.
Tank hasn't reached that level yet. Not even close. And choosing to fight Jake Paul while avoiding real contenders doesn't do him any favors. That's why the recent face-off said so much without a single punch being thrown. Tank showed up with that signature glare, jaw tight, eyes locked on Jake. Jake didn't flinch. He smirked, leaned in, and started talking nonstop. The crowd's noise drowned out most of the words, but you didn't need to hear them. Their body language said everything. These two genuinely don't like each other.
You have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else, that just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have to bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air. Bang! And he hits him. Sid Terrace was a great fighter. No, not the 1700s, but years ago. And Cus D'Amato told me he loved Sid Terrace. He said, Teddy, he used to jump up in the air and hit you with 3 jabs. I said, whoa, man, Sid Terrace. All right. Anyway, look, I can't finish without saying that it did invoke some memories and thoughts that we've been here before in a different way, where Jake Paul's brother fought Mayweather. That's not forget. And I'm not saying I like that either. I mean, first of all, Mayweather was past his prime. He was already retired. He was older, everything, but he's still the great Mayweather. And Mayweather was fighting a guy, what was it, 50-pound difference, 60-pound difference, whatever it was. And that size made a difference. It allowed Jake Paul's brother to be in there and be able to last with a smaller man, a smaller, older, greater fighter who's mostly was concentrating on defense more than just offense. So, yeah. It's kind of like we've seen this already in that version of it, and we didn't really like it. I don't think I liked it that much.
He didn't stop there. He went all in, saying this fight makes absolutely no sense for either man's career. From his perspective, Tank gains nothing by beating a YouTuber, and Jake risks everything by stepping in with a real world-class boxer. It's a matchup built for attention, not legacy. And that's what frustrates true boxing fans the most. It feels less like two fighters chasing greatness and more like two brands chasing clicks.
Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, or as an exhibition, we don't know if they throw at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were to beat him or even knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
You know, some people trying to give, that's fair, some people trying to give Tank a hard time. They're saying he should have took a fight with Lamont Roach or Shakur Stevenson. But when you think about it, do you think this is business and look, he's getting a bag, or is there some validity to people saying that he ducked Roach?
I mean, there's still other options. You know, it's like, bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or like all that stuff, right? At the end of it, bro, we just want to do what's best for ourselves, right?
Facts.
Right or wrong.
Facts.
So just do what's best for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, me personally, it don't matter what my opinion is, but I don't think get the money while you can get the money is my opinion. But you know, some fans are gonna have a hard time.
No, it's not
with
even
it.
about the money though, man. It's like regardless of anything, like yeah, get the money when you can get the money, but it's not even about the money. There's so much more to this sport in this world than just money, man. It's just do whatever you feel benefits.
He took it even further, saying Tank Davis isn't the same fighter anymore. That somewhere along the way, he's lost his passion for boxing. According to critics, the hunger that once drove Tank to dominate every opponent just isn't there now. The fire that made him one of the sport's most dangerous fighters seems dimmed, replaced by fame, comfort, and big money distractions. For a guy who built his name on grit and knockout power, that kind of talk cuts deep, and it's exactly why so many people are watching this next fight so closely.
You make it. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing, for sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got you chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates? Oh, my goodness. I mean, here's the thing, though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't fight him. What does that say about Tank? If you talk all that stuff, you better
Nate Diaz didn't hold back either. He shook his head at the massive weight gap, saying no fighter should ever step that far outside their natural weight class. To him, it's not just unfair, it's dangerous. Diaz has been around combat sports long enough to know what happens when smaller fighters take on bigger opponents, and he made it clear he doesn't respect the matchup. In his eyes, this isn't about competition or skill. It's a stunt, and one that could go very wrong for Tank Davis.
Gervonta, who I personally think has been checked out for way longer than this last fight. I think he was checked out prior to the Roach fight. I thought this was all going to be in the works, where he was supposed to beat the 16-1 Roach and then go on to fight Jake Paul and then call it a career, because I think the people around him understood there wasn't much left in the tank for him in terms of his want or his desire to be here. He did an interview with Dan Canobio about 18 months ago where he was like, yeah, man, I just kind of want to raise my family. I don't know how much left of boxing for me. I don't want to see a therapist. I want to, I need to, but like, I don't want to take away from my fighting. But I think it's time for me to do stuff like that. So I think the writing has been on the wall for Tank for a while. So that draw was kind of just like, I was on the way out anyway. I don't need to go back in there. And I said it at the end of that fight. I'm like, there's no way we see that rematch. He was so uncomfortable in that ring with Roach. He doesn't want to feel that again. He showed that night. So I'm not surprised that fight's not happening. I'm not even surprised he's fighting